our learning goals are going to be learning that percent beings out of 100, which hopefully you remember, and learning to use proportional reasoning. You may have not used percent in a proportional reasoning sense to solve problems related to percent. So one thing that you may recall from grade 7 and 8 is that all these things mean the same thing. Okay, so 20. How do you go from 25%? Sorry here. How do you go from 25% to 0.25? Who knows? $25 out of 100. If I do that division on my calculator, what do I get? 0.25. So there's how I go from there. How do I go from 25% to 25 to 100? 25% of 100, because percent means out of 100. Okay. And then we already saw the fraction. Okay. So all of those things mean the same thing. So see if you can write 75% as a fraction, a decimal, and a ratio. See if you can write 75% as a fraction, a decimal, and a ratio. Okay, so tons of people are doing the 75 out of 100 here, which is lovely. 0.75 and 75 to 100. A couple people put 3/4 here. Is that okay? Yes. Okay. If I divided top and bottom by 25, I get an equivalent ratio, which we talked about yesterday. So 3/4 and 75 out of 100 means the same thing. Okay. And if I'd done that, I might have wanted to put 3 to 4 here, which would also be fine. Okay. 15%. Already people were filling it in. 15 out of 100. 0.15. You just do 15 divided by 100 and it tells you that. And 15 to 100. A half. Any ideas? Really?
No.
No? Yeah. 50%. So you could have done, you could have just known half of something is 50% of something, or you could have done 1 divided by 2 is 0.5, and then multiply by 100 to get 50%. Okay? And then we could do 1 to 2 here, or we could do 50 to 100 here if we wanted. Okay? So how do you go from decimal to percent? Does anyone know? Yeah. So when you're going from percent to decimal, you divide by 100. So to go from decimal to percent, you multiply by 100. So 0.2 times 100, 20%. Once you've got the percent, everything else is easy, right? So this is 20 out of 100. And this is 22, 100. This is 13%, 13 out of 100, and 0.13. Okay? So hopefully for most of you, that's some review from grade 7 and 8. Let's look at some examples of where we can connect proportional reasoning and percent. So we're going to try to connect 2 different ideas together. And one of them is proportional reasoning, and the other one is percent. And the key is to remember that the total of a percent is always 100, okay? So, for example, Kimmy got 42 out of 56 questions correct on her driver's test. What percent of questions did she get correct? So this little graphic here is going to help me set up a proportion. So 100% is the total number of the whole, okay, it's the total. What's the total number of questions? 56. So 156 go together. Where would 42 be along this continuum? More towards the bottom or more towards the top if it's out of 56? More towards the top. And then I want to know what percent that is, so that's where X goes. So this little graphic helps me make a proportion, and we know from yesterday that proportions are pretty easy to solve. Okay, so my proportion can be 100 over X equals 56 over 42. And now I can just do, find my X and cross. 56X equals 4,200. Divide by 56. And we get X equals, what is it?
75.
75. And that means X is here, right? So that means 75%. So therefore, Kimmy got 75% of the questions correct. Okay, does anybody know how to do that question a different way than verse 7 and 8? Jacob.
So you have the questions right.
Yep.
Divide by the total amount of questions times 100.
So 42 out of 56 times 100. Everybody try that on your calculator and see if you get 75%. Right on your calculator, 42 divided by 56 times 100. 75% as well. Now look at what happens here, guys. Do we multiply the 42 and 100. We technically multiply the 42 and 100, right? We divide by the 56. We divide by the 56. Okay? So if this is something you just know how to do, that's fine. If percent was something that mystified you, this is a very good way to set up your question because you'll always get the right answer. Okay? You don't have to worry about which one goes on the top, which one goes on the bottom, that kind of thing. All right? Okay, so in Christopher's class, 92% of all the students in the class have internet access at home. If his class has a total of 25 students, how many students have internet access? Okay, so in Christopher's class, 92% of all the students have internet access at home. This class has 25 students. How many students have internet access? So this is the percent side, and this is the student side. So, what do we know from the question? We know 92% of his class has internet access. 92 is going to go pretty close to 100. Everyone agree? And 25 represents what? Where would it go? Across from the 92 or across from the 100, and why? It goes across from the 92 because it says 92% of his class has internet access, and then it says 25 students have internet access. Oh wait, no, I'm wrong. This is 25 because this is the total number of students in the class. And we want to know how many have internet access, so that goes, X goes there. Okay? So 100% means total, 25 people total in the class. How many have internet access? 92%, but we don't know what that is on the number of students. So right from this picture, we can make a proportion. 100 over 92 has to equal 25 over x. And then we can crisscross here. And we get 100x equals 92 times 25. Which is 2,300. Divide by 100. And we get x equals 23. So that means 23 of the 25 students have internet. Therefore, 23 students have internet access. Okay, did anybody else do that one a different way and get the same answer? Nope, okay. Louise works at a jewelry store. She's paid by commission. She earns 9.5% of her sales. 1 week she sells $7,290 worth of jewelry. How much did she earn in commission? So I'm going to give you a moment to see if you can set up the picture part. All right. Remember, this is the percent side, and in this case, this is the money side. Okay? It's order matters again, just like we did yesterday with proportional reasoning. So she earns 9.5%. So compared to 100, 9.5 is really small, so I put it on down there. Okay, on the percent side near the bottom. Now, she sells $7,290 worth of jewelry. Does anyone know what a commission is?
It's like a amount of, like, you would get like a specific amount of that side.
Right, so if she sells that amount of jewelry in a week, then instead of giving her like $15 an hour, they'll give her 9.5% of the value of stuff she sells. Okay? So they're not giving her $7,290. That means she would get 100% of everything she sells. That'd be less, right? They're giving her 9.5% of that. So that's a total. So the total value of her sales is that. But we want to know how much she makes off selling that much. Okay? So that's going to be our proportion we set up. And then we can just use our diagram just like it is to make our proportion. And we can crisscross. And we get that 100x equals $692.55. When it's money, remember, always go to 2 decimal places. So therefore, Louise earns $692.55. Okay, and does that number make sense? Well, it's a lot less than 7,290, and 9.5% is a lot less than 100%, so it makes sense. Okay? Did anyone do this one another way and get the same answer? No. Okay? All right, so this one I didn't draw you the graphic organizer. You have to remember how to do it. So remember, percent always goes up there. And then I'll give you a chance to try. See what we've got here. Chris scored 35%, so that's below 50 of the basketball team points. So this is Chris here, okay, this is Chris. It says he scored 21 points, so if he scored 21 points, which is 35% of what the team scored, okay? So the total points the team scored is 100% of the points is up there, okay? So once you've got that, then you can make your proportion. 100 over 35 equals X over 21. And then once you've got your proportion, it's just like yesterday. 35X equals 2100. X equals 60. So therefore, the team scored 60 points. Did anybody do that a different way and get the answer? Everybody use the proportion? Okay, great. All right, I'll let you try the next one. Set up the next. All right, so I'm going to draw my graphic organizer here. 100% is up at the top. Lewis goes to a 20% off sale to buy a snowmobile suit. So he gets 20% off. He gets 20% off. And he saves $48. So is that $48 20% of the price, or is it the whole price? 20% of the price because it's the amount he gets off, okay? It's the amount of the discount. So he saves $48, which represents 20% of the price. So X will represent the total amount of the price. So 100 over 20 is equal to X over 48. So 20X is equal to 4,000. That one. X equals 200. Yeah.
I just realized that it's kind of long, but it is because everything X after the 100 has to do it.
That's fine.
Oh,
Yeah, the proportions work this way too.
okay. I just want to be sure.
Okay, so leave it. Yep. Thank you. 4,800 divided by 20 is 240. And then we need to therefore the regular price is $240. Okay, the next one is a mix of today's question and yesterday's question. It's going to require us to do two proportions. Okay? Because we're comparing the number of calculators and the percent, but we're also comparing blue ones and gray ones. Okay? Or blue ones and total ones. We'll figure that out when we get there. Okay? All right, so let's start off with the percent. Mr. Bazzi orders 300 calculators. 80% of the shipment arrives. He orders 300, but only 80% of the shipment arrives. So if all of them came in, if 100% of the order came in, how many would come in? 300. But only 80% of them come in, so we need to know how many come in. Okay? How many actually arrive at the school? The order's 300, but only 80% come in. Okay, great. Find your X and cross. Yep,
Wouldn't 80% be 4 over 5?
yes. You can do it, if, as long as you show you're thinking the same answer as me, you'll be good. Okay? That's why I was asking if people did it a different way. $240? All right, so far we know that 240 calculators arrive. So from doing the first proportion, we know that at the school now are 240 calculators. Okay? Now we're comparing all of the calculators that arrive, 2/5 of them are blue and the rest are gray. 2/5 of them are blue and the rest are gray. Any ideas what we could do now? Yep,
So now the total is 240,
yep,
and then 3/5, which is gray,
yep,
is at 60%.
yep.
So it's 240, which is 100% if you want to recreate the,
Okay,
so,
nice. Okay, so I've got 100% we know is 240. And then what we did here is we used what we know about changing this to a percent. So 2 divided by 5 on our calculator gives us 0.4, which is 40%. But that's the blue ones, right? So how do we get the gray ones? There's a couple strategies. What was yours, Jacob?
100% minus 30%.
Okay, so Jacob's thinking is that if 40% are blue, then 60% must be gray. Does that make sense to everybody? So he's going straight for the gray ones. The other way to do it would be to figure out how many blue ones there was and subtract 240 from minus how many blue ones there were. Brayden, what did you do?
240 minus 96.
Yes, yes. That's the other way you could do it for sure. Okay, so we know that 60% of the ones there are blue, okay? Or sorry, are gray, Because 40% were blue, 60% were gray. So now we can make our proportion. Guys, please don't talk. Sorry. All right, so we have 100x equals so 144. So therefore, 144 are gray. Now, if you found the blue ones, you would have done 240 minus the blue ones to give you the gray ones. Yep. Yes.
I don't have to go.
Yes. Okay. So we had to do 2 proportions there to get to the final answer, and we had a couple yesterday where we had to do the 2 proportions. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop there, and you guys are going to practice.